Okay, what we have here is 1999 Viper, and it still has the original thermostat installed. And I pushed my luck long enough on that, so I'm gonna change it. Part of the reason I haven't done it too is it's a little bit of an issue. This is the thermostat housing right there. If you see, it's underneath the intake. So in order to access that, this has got to come off, The windshield valance here is going to have to come off, and the intake manifold has to come off, and everything connected to it. So it's going to be a bit of a project. We have a few things here, but it's time to knock this one out. Okay, got the valance off here, and the windshield wipers are off, and I just set them up here. I think I can get away with that. I pulled out one of the intake manifold bolts. They were a little bit harder to get to than what I anticipated. 3/8 drive is way too tight to fit in there. It'll rub on those runners. So I had to come up with another rig here, and I've got a 1/4" drive with a T30 on it, which is in the top of the bolts. Get one of those. There's the top of the bolt. It's 11mm, but it's got a T30 on top. And then this skinny 1/4 drive adapted to a 3/8 extension, and this is going to allow me to do it. Fingers crossed. So we got the passenger side intake manifold bolts out. Now working on the driver's side, and we got that one out. Oop, let's see, got that one out, and got these working. I've got a little system now. Down in there, and some of them are just a shade over hand tight, which is amazing. But the T30, I got it in there. See if I can do this with one hand. And yeah, so they're not tight at all. And then what I do is go in and get that with my little magnet I have here, a little tiny one. That's the only way to do it that I can see. Got the intake manifold unbolted and various vacuum hoses and electrical things undone. And we finally get to the good old thermostat housing. It looks like there's 3 bolts there. I'm gonna soak those in PD Blaster, and may have to put some heat on them before I attempt to break those loose. And looks relatively clean in there, except for this one little area right here. Okay, still working on these bolts on the thermostat. There's 1, 2, and then there's another one over here, 3. They're notorious for snapping off, so it's all about taking your time. Move them forward a couple of millimeters, back a couple of millimeters. They're broken free, and then you've got to add a little PB Blaster. And then for me, I got to walk away for about an hour and then come back and repeat. But we'll get them out. Okay, got the thermostat bolts out. There's 1, 2, 3 without snapping them, and they did not come willingly. Put a lot of PB Blaster on them, worked them back and forth. To break them free, used induction heating and torch. So bring them up a few hundred degrees and initially break them free. But they're out now, and I've got some new bolts I bought because those have been cycled hot and cold a lot. And when we put it back together, that's the way we'll do it, with the new bolts. So along the way, I got bits of dirt down into the cooling system, at least the top part there, and I try to get all I can. So I use this turkey baster, and I got little bits of dirt out. So the more we can get out of there, the better. Okay, here we are getting close to assembly now. I've got the housing all cleaned up. I've got my new 170, took off a 195, so I hope my engine sensors will allow that. Gonna go like that. Then we've got our gasket, which will go something like that. This is a PCV that's under the manifold, so I'm replacing that now. Also, the old bolts have been heat cycled a lot. I bought some new ones. These look a little different, so I'm gonna make sure. But that's where we are right now. Got the intake manifolds out of the package now, and the good thing is they came with the alignment tabs, which is awesome. I was concerned about that, so I pulled the ones off the used gaskets, but I'm not gonna need them. But this is a long gasket, so I'm thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm thinking around number 3, I'm gonna put a little Permatex on here to hold it, keep it from sagging. I hope that doesn't come back to bite me, but we'll give it a try, because I gotta drop the 10-cylinder intake straight down. Got the intake manifold gaskets in, and I put a little Permatex on the third from the front to keep them from sagging. Give that a couple of minutes to set up, and then I'm gonna come back and see if I got enough jam to pick this big manifold up and set it straight down. All right, here's where we are. Intake manifold is on, and the holes, if I can show you, are aligned. There's one, and then there's another one there. So we got 20 of those, and I want to put some anti-seize on there. Unfortunately, anti-seize gets all over everything, and those red runners are going to show it. We've got all 20 bolts here. I did them this way. It's a driver's front, upper, lower, and the passenger front, upper, lower. So what I'm going to have to do is I'll put anti-seize on each one of these bolts, and I'll have to put it in with this grab tool. I don't know how else to do it. All the intake manifold bolts are in with anti-seize on them, and now it's time for the torque sequence. Here's the rig, T30 extension, 1/4 inch drive, torque wrench, 1/4 inch because we're dealing with inch pounds, not foot pounds, inch pounds because aluminum head and aluminum intake. We are down to the coolant now. Everything is assembled. Looks good. So these motors are famous for trapping air in the system. And they have an interesting setup here. They have a purge tank here, and then they have a purge tank down here. And you can see the sight glass. See it back in there? So I chased this line here, and it runs right to it, with this being the return. So I'm going to pull this off, put a funnel in it, and fill it, and fill this, and that should take care of a lot of it. Out on a test run, everything seems normal. It's running cool. All pressures are right. It's a beautiful thing.